Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan Nair, and here basically we are talking about the video formula that is 213, that is 230. And here basically we are discussing that what actually the projects are and how this is connected with the formulas. This basically currently which each and everything basically we are discussing, it's connected directly with the formula part. And this basically PMI group, basically that is PMI group in Pune industry. Sorry, Pune is not industry, it's a city. So Pune basically is connected with this. That is the PMI Institute, which is basically in, I think it's in Hinjawadi. And this is directly connected with the one number one company, that is the TCS, that is Tata Consultancy Service, or I think Services. I think it's services. I think services or service. So basically, this is Tata Consultancy basically, and we have taken one example of the CRM project, that is basically the customer relationship management. That how basically the relationship management project basically was got by the TCS company, that is the Tata Consultancy Services or Service, I think. Exactly don't know. But it's TCS. Short form is TCS, but long form is Tata Consultancy Services or Service. So whatever basically, it's TCS. So like this basically the TCS have the each and every data. And here basically there is one data science project and artificial intelligence project basically which got generated. And this basically mostly might not be converted into the project basically. Reason basically I will tell you. Uh, the project basically is each and every software company basically, sorry, each and every project basically, that is basically the CRM project, the banking project, the payroll project. Each and every project basically was started from which company and which nuclear power company basically, and the energy company and the power company who basically has designed this each and every project. And on the base of this project basically each and every human needs are basically created, and then basically according to the human needs the blood cells was created, and then basically the brain was created, sorry, the brain cells was created. So like this each and every software brain cell basically was created by this nuclear power company. Each and every basically the software blood cells, sorry, software brain cells basically was created by this this nuclear power company and energy company and the power company. So if any problem basically occurs, then basically this nuclear power company will basically take out, sorry, take into picture basically. They takes care of the each and everything basically. If basically the problem occurs, if problem occurs basically, but mostly basically the problem never occurs. Why? So what would be the reason basically the problem never occurs? Because nuclear power company says that we are up to perfect plan, that basically even basically satellites group basically try to find out any error. For example, there is one nuclear power company basically, they basically having the software nuclear energy. Assume that there is one software nuclear company basically, sorry, software nuclear companies basically we will take as a companies. Mostly basically it will be company only, but for uh, just for example purpose we are taking as an companies. So software nuclear companies basically have basically designed, has designed this each and every software's energies, and then basically the project created, then the human needs basically created, then each and everything basically created, then the human needs basically created. Then one of the person basically told that why don't basically directly you can't create the see from CRM energy, why don't you direct create the human needs basically, you can directly create the human needs also. This basically question basically one person asked, this question basically one of the person basically asked. Then the answer basically given by the Bollywood group that is basically staying in the Mumbai. In front of the world, basically Bollywood is Mumbai is the Bollywood. So Mumbai in front of the world, basically Mumbai is handling everything related to Bollywood thing basically. So whatever in front of the world, that is not in front of the world, right? That basically everybody knows now. Example is there is no like sun and moon. In front of the world, basically there is like moon also. And they says that we have launched one satellite in moon also. That type of thing also basically they say. And basically to give the proof to the public that a moon is there basically, they send the satellites and then they say that see this picture basically is from this picture is basically came from moon basically. Up to that level proof basically they give. But in real basically moon sun does not exist. That basically everybody knows. Because each and every planet's energy basically are converted into the energy, and that energy basically is looking like a sun and moon effect basically you can say. So that's the basically shape of sun and moon, and that basically who has decided the round shape, that basically need to find out that how why basically the round shape was created, why the square shape was not created, why the star shape was not created. That we will discuss later on, that why basically the sun and moon basically the design shape was basically flashed to round. Why not to star, why not to square? That basically we will discuss in later on basically. What is the reason? This is basically the science, this is basically the one scientific reason is there. This is basically science only, right? Planets basically, set of planets energy basically converts into the light. That's it's a very simple language basically, it's a simple formula basically. Set of planets equal to light's effect. So earth planet is creating light effect. Earth planet is basically creating the light effect. So how dangerous work basically the earth planet is doing. That's why basically here we are discussing each and every detail part of the software industry. Otherwise, basically, due to one software industry, whole world is going to suffer. Sorry, not only whole world, entire universe is going to suffer. That's why basically the each and every software energy is basically created by the nuclear power bank. So basically, we can say that it's a nuclear power bank, basically, right? So that's why basically each and every object in this world basically is created by the nuclear power bank. So this basically I have given the one name, and that basically nuclear power bank basically is connected with one of the banks. So each and every power pump companies, each and every energy companies are connected with the banks, because without a monetary basically nothing basically works in the world. That's why basically if you are creating one energy basically, for example CRM energy was created, and that is going to generate this all energy basically. So that might have taken some cost, right? R&D was done, scientist was basically involved, the software was basically was involved, this expense, that expense, each and every set of R&D expense. Then basically they have done some practical expense. So each and every expense basically has happened. That expense basically is connected with the bank. So nuclear power company, each and every nuclear power companies are basically directly connected with the banks. It might be bank, but then also basically we are taking as in banks. Mostly 98% it would be bank only, because it's very critical, right? Because CRM, TCS basic company owner only basically knows that there is like CRM project which is going to be launched, and if for that launching basically they have done some certain level of plans. That is basically plans are basically converted, which plan is basically the 16 to 17 types of CRM types of 16 to 17 types of CRM project is basically going to generate by the software project managers and the directors brains. So just to see basically the dangerous level. This is not dangerous basically, it's very dangerous, because earth planet is each and every object basically are going to create light. So here basically we will see in detail later on. First basically we discuss the software industry basically, how what actually the software industry role is in the market. Market means this earth planet is basically one market, right? Market word basically you can say. So the earth planet is one market, right? Our planet is in one market, and software is basically one of the product basically which is getting selling by the in the market, right? Is getting sold and it's getting selling, and it's selling in the market, right? It's sold, it's selling in the market. So like this basically the words are there. So like this, the software industry says that hmm, we are basically dealing with the set of groups basically. For example, here basically we have taken example of 30 to 40 uh, websites are there. Basically they are basically doing the bid of the each and every projects. So according to the user basically of the company, they do the bidding, right? They do the bidding basically, right? According to the software of the projects, they are doing the bidding, right? So they are doing the bidding. So like this, each and every software company basically they are doing the bidding. So who are basically do the bidding? Who are basically pass the bidding? Pass the bidding means here basically the money is taken as a priority, because you, if you want to do complete the project basically, then basically without money you can't complete it, right? Without money basically who is going to do the project? Without money any software person basically is not going to do the project, right? So without money basically nothing is going to happen. So that's why basically the money is taken as an picture basically, you can say, right? So money here basically we are taking as an picture, right? So like this, the software company is, says that money is must basically. Without money we can't create the project. So like this, the each and every bidding happens in the project. Money are basically taken by the that 30 to 40 basically the groups basically who are basically IITs, IIMs, and other groups basically. They basically do the bidding. They basically do the bidding means they have done the bidding data, and that data basically is so it's a union, right? From this basically it's created, it's basically 100% confirmed that it's a union of the software industry. It's a union of the software industry, right? So now basically it's clear that it's a union of the software industry. So now basically, so now basically we will discuss what actually the software union are. So assume that 30 to 40 big software companies basically are there, and they have basically done the bidding, and then software nuclear company basically we are taking as in companies basically, because it's mostly might be one or two companies, because it's not possible for one nuclear power company to create this all this thing basically. So we will take as companies basically, two to three companies or two to four companies. That is basically the software nuclear software, or whatever basically software nuclear company or software nuclear companies. So they are basically do creating the each and every projects. So CRM project basically was created by them, and they then basically the power company has checked the each and everything. Then basically the energy companies checks the thing. Then basically the data basically that is the blood cells information are basically basically, for example, vegetable is going to created by the software CRM project, right? Vegetable is going to create by the CRM software. So vegetable is going to affect to which or blood cells, which or blood cells basically is going to affect by the vegetable. So that blood cells only is going to be taken into the picture, but that blood cells are going to affect going to affect me, it's going to connect to other blood cells also, and other blood cells also going to be effect, or going to get effect. That's why basically each and every things are basically taken into the picture. But here the main thing is vegetable is going to create, assume more than 3000 blood cells. Assume, just taking as an example, 3000 blood cells is 3000 blood cells and subcells basically is going to created by the vegetable, right? So from one blood cells, sorry, so from one vegetable, 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells is going to create, right? So this basically has taken into picture. So like this, The software basically, that is the CRM software, it's designed according to that only, that this many blood cells is going to affect from that vegetable. So human need basically is a vegetable, and CRM software is basically creating one vegetable. CRM software basically is creating CRM software basically is creating one vegetable, and that vegetable is going to affect to 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells. That is the basically the calculation which is taken by the energy company, power company, and the nuclear power company. So they have basically done the calculation that this many 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells is going to affect due to this blood cells. Sorry, vegetable. Due to this vegetable. And this vegetable is going to create by which group? That is the CRM software is going to create this vegetable. That is the human need basically. Right? So nuclear power company told that we basically required one vegetable. For that basically the software company has taken as an taken the initiative that we will be going to create one vegetable, so give us the opportunity. So they have taken the opportunity that software vegetable is going to create. So that is CRM vegetable. And this all thing basically which I am discussing, that is all done long before basically. And software blood cells is created, Microsoft blood cells is created, Salesforce blood cells is created, and Microsoft basically equal to blood cells, and that to create that blood cells basically more than 1 lakh city has created. So each and everything is already created. After that basically we are doing the discussion. So like this nuclear power company has created the vegetables, sorry, the CRM project. And that CRM project basically is going to create vegetables, and that data basically which is going to be enter in that CRM project, that data basically is going to connect with the physical locations, and that physical location data basically power company, energy company, and the nuclear company, power company have that data, have that data. That's why basically the each and every softwares basically are connected with the power companies. Each and every software basically I'm telling. That's why basically the each and every software, if it's connected, then basically the data are by default connected. Datas are basically by default connected. Yes, 100% basically datas are by default connected. So here basically I will take one example. For example, Microsoft told that one CRM project is going to be created by this software company in this city. This basically is informed by the USA Microsoft team. This whole thing basically only USA Microsoft team can do, right? So Microsoft USA software company basically have the 100% data of each project basically has converted into the human needs. So this data by default Microsoft might be having, because it's a big Microsoft company, right? So they can't do this type of silly mistakes. They can't do this type of silly mistakes. And they know that Microsoft basically have the this record also, that this vegetable is going to affect to this 3000 blood cells only. So this type of normal thing basically, it's a big Microsoft company basically. It's a big Microsoft company basically. So this type of data basically, it's a normal thing basically. This type of data 100% Microsoft might be having, because it's a silly thing, right? Not it's a silly thing basically, it's a normal thing basically. If it's a mistake, then it's a silly thing. But it's a Microsoft big software company, so this type of company basically will never do the mistake. Why? Because it's not possible basically. If they are doing the mistakes, then basically how the medicines are basically created, that is also thing, right? If they have not taken the data, they have not taken the care of this type of data, then basically how the medicines are also created, that is the question, right? You've not taken the care of the data, then basically how the medicines are created. So 100% medicines are there. That means the data is always there with Microsoft. So like this, I was telling about one example. .NET is created whenever the Microsoft people says that this CRM project is going to create vegetable. So they give the information to the power company and the energy company and the nuclear power company that this software is going to created by this software company, and these groups are basically going to create vegetables, and that vegetable is going to affect to 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells. 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells. 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells. So this CRM software is going to affect to this many blood cells. So these all are basically the normal thing basically uh, in the software industry for the Microsoft Corporation. So like this basically the this many blood cells is going to affect this all information basically they have passed to the power company, and the power company basically are directly connected with the software company. So the software company owner basically knows that this project basically which is going to create, that is going to create the CRM project, and that CRM project is going to create the vegetables, and that vegetable is going to create 3000 blood cells and sub blood cells. So it's a business of blood cells basically, you can say. So one of the person basically told that CS this software company is doing the business of blood cells or what. Then the answer basically, but that is basically the big level software company, because vegetable only can be created by the big level software company only. Why? Because the investment, just see basically, just see the investment basically, 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore, 3 lakh crore, 3 lakh crore basically. I'm not talking about the some dollar, 2 lakh dollar. It's not lakh dollar. It's a 1 lakh crore Indian rupees basically. So like this you can just imagine the investment basically has to be do. So normal software company basically can't create that. Big level software company only can create this type of. So if the big software companies are basically creating, then basically they have the 100% example, sorry, the data that 3000 blood cells is going to create, and this blood cells basically is going to generate. Assume that this, if you eat this vegetable, then your English is going to improve, your English language is going to improve. That is basically English, English. Which language basically I'm just now speaking, that language basically I'm telling that your English language is going to improve. That also basically American English basically you can speak. So just see basically the deep level basically. I am speaking the normal Indian English, right? But if you will eat that vegetable, then basically your English is going to be like American English. Like American English you are going to speak. Currently, basically, I'm speaking normal English because I'm in India. I'm not in Singapore. I'm not in USA. That's why basically I'm speaking like a normal Indian English. That also basically the simple language, simple words. I'm not speaking any of the complicated words. It's just a simple language, basically simple words, basically, which normal person also basically can understand. That type of language basically I'm using. That type of language basically I'm using. So the person basically who has created this CRM software, he told that this software is basically we are creating so that the person basically who are basically in the America, they can speak the American English. And everybody basically knows American English means what. American English means totally different English than the other English language basically I'm taking. So whenever basically you are going to eat this vegetable, you are going to speak like an American English. You are an American man. So if it's an American language, then basically this vegetable is created for which country? That is by default for American country, right? That is the USA country. So you are speaking like American language. That also basically are created from the vegetable. This is basically just taken as an example. In real, the human needs might be totally different. It might be water also. It can be any fruit also. It can be any medicine also. It can be anything basically. It can be anything. So you can just imagine the software creation basically, you can say. Software can create up to the level of the depthness, basically, deepness, basically, you can say. This is very deepness, right? It's a very deep, right? If anybody says that one CRM software basically can generate one vegetable, and if that vegetable is consumed by the normal people, basically, then basically you are going to speak like an American English. So the investment basically for that normal that vegetable, the special vegetable, that is more than 1 lakh crore. More than 1 lakh crore. And America basically is how much rich country that basically everybody knows. How much rich and powerful country is America, USA, that everybody knows. So specially vegetables are basically created for the Americans. So where is that is getting created? That basically the American government basically who are sitting in the White House basically. They basically knows that how they are speaking the American English, what they are eating, what they are drinking, according to the drinking, eating foods, how they are basically speaking the American English. So this is basically big question. This is big question actually. That American basically groups, basically the government groups, they knows that is this thing is also there. Same way European English is there. Same way Arabic English is there. Arab people basically Arab people basically that are the UAE people. Their English is totally different basically. Their English are basically totally different. So for that basically they are basically rich people, right? Arab people, Arabic people basically are very rich people. They are basically very rich people. So they can spend any end of money basically. Any end of money. End means there is no end of money basically by spending. By spending basically there is lots of money basically, right? But they don't spend into certain people basically. They only spend the money to the special people. So I assume that to create Arabic English, they have spent around uh, 20 lakh dollar. Sorry, 20 lakh dollar crore or 20 lakh rupees crore. 20 lakh crore rupees basically you can say or dollar, take as a dollar basically. 20 lakh crores of dollar. So this much basically amount has been taken. This much amount basically has been spent to create Arabic English. So to create languages, basically the money has spent lots of basically the money has spent basically. So Arabic English means what? Arabic English means what? The people basically who have taken birth in Arabic country basically, they get certain level of birth injections. Same way basically if you take birth in India, you get certain level of injections. Birth injection basically that is called. Then only basically you basically has converted into the Indian language, into UAE language, into USA language. Means nationality basically. Language means. So like this basically you can just imagine. So that basically injection is basically one of the chain, and then basically the UAE English comes into the picture. That is basically the amount which has spent. That is the amount is 20 lakh crore dollar just to generate one English Arabic language. To generate one English Arabic language, basically, I have taken one example. To create one vegetable, it has taken 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh crore rupees. That CRM software was basically created by one of the biggest software company. So you can just imagine basically how many human needs basically it might have created. Who basically gets the contracts? Software industry gets the contract or non-software industry basically gets the contract. So you can just imagine basically the dangerous level. And this all basically the are the information only that is basically one of the biggest data science project and the artificial intelligence project. And this project basically 100% might have created also. I will take one example basically. I will take one example of this. Assume that assume that one CRM project is there. CRM project is going to generate vegetable, and that vegetable is going to generate 3000 blood cells. Like this basically there are around 3 lakh softwares basically which are generating around 3000 human needs, and that 3000 human needs are going to generate this many around 1 lakh to 2 lakh blood cells. 3 lakh software basically are going to generate 3000 human needs, and 3000 human needs are going to generate 2 to 3 lakh, or assume that 3 lakh basically blood cells is going to generate 3 lakh blood cells and sub blood cells. So this entire data basically by default might be having only. That's why basically you are able to create the medicines, right? How basically you are creating the medicines? There might be some source, right? Or blindly you are not creating the medicines, right? Blindly the basically the medical medicine industry are not creating the medicines. They have the exact data. That's why basically they are creating. They have the data of entire thing basically. That's why basically they are creating the medicines, right? So like this basically the medicines are basically getting created. So this is the software industry which we are just now discussing, that more than basically thousands of softwares are created, thousands of human needs are basically created, and thousands of human need basically has generated lots of blood cells also. That maintenance is also ongoing, and the creation of the human needs are also ongoing, and that basically keeps on updating. So here basically we have taken one example of CRM project. Like this, assume that there are more than 1 lakh to 2 lakh to 3 lakh projects basically, which is same way basically. Assume that TCS basically company has got one CRM project that basically we have already discussed. So TCS company basically was the responsible for, will be responsible for that CRM project. Why? Because their project managers basically has created this brain. Like this, assume that there are 3 lakh to 4 lakh projects already in the market, and they basically was given to this project basically was given to first time basically to these all companies, and they have basically created entire that market. For example, payroll project was given to this company, so they created the payroll brain. So just see basically the dangerous level the software industry has reached, and this data I am 100% sure software industry is not having. So basically this data are very easy basically, but power company and energy company and nuclear power company, they might be having 100% data, having the 100% data. But it might possible that software industry might be having also. It might possible this all chained software basically might be having also. Reason, the medicine is created, right? If the medicine is created, then basically the 100% the software might be having, right? But this thing basically which I have just now told with just now basically I am discussing that first time basically which software company basically has created which project, that data basically it's very difficult to handle also basically, and that's basically very critical data also. That is very critical data also. So we will be going to discuss tomorrow about this point basically, in next video basically we can say. In next video, that is the basically the there are basically 3 lakh projects which is basically created by the nuclear power company and tested by the power company and the energy companies, and they have given this project to which all software companies, and from that software companies basically the project managers and the software company owners and the directors how basically they have done the discussion and which all are the power companies they have taken the energy of this all software directors and the project, and how the this basically entire chain has created the software industry. So this basically we are going to discuss in next video, that is basically the 214 project 4 number formula, that basically we are going to discuss in next video. This is basically 213 number. In 214 basically we are going to discuss this.